The hour over here, we head to the Eastern Cape. Residents of Nelson Mandela Bay's Lapland are decrying the government's slow pace in providing housing assistance. This after they were recently displaced by devastating floods. Last week, they led a protest demanding answers about the government's promises to help with recovery efforts. Newzroom Afrika's Sipha Kema is back in the community and joins us live there with an update. Sipha, a good morning to you. I think let's talk about, firstly, just the community you're in, what they've experienced over the past few weeks, and certainly efforts that are in place for them to see some sort of recovery.
Well, I mean, Naledi, where we are in Lapland, the community is back to old Lapland, where the structures were. Now, remember, they were moved, some of them, because they were affected by the floods. Some had lost their structures and personal belongings during those floods in the beginning of June. But then also some were moved as part of precautionary measures because they are in a low-lying area, and there was also fears coming from government about the dam that's just over the hill there with the cracked dam walls, worried that the dam could crack and collapse, therefore affecting this area, because this area is right on the foot of that dam and that hill, and also by the river banks. But also talking about those promises that you mentioned, Naledi, is that we do know that several promises were made to this community during those floods when they were relocated to the mass centers such as your churches and your community halls. Thereafter, they were then moved to the temporary accommodation that was leased by the Nelson Mandela Bay municipality as well as human settlements. But also, we're going to bring in now one of our guests, Sherwin, here. We're going to talk to him regarding efforts that have been made and communication that have been made by the municipality then to these residents. Because remember, after that protest happened last week, Sunday, the community were relocated, Sherwin, and eventually moved by the police the same night, the same evening of that protest, back to old Lapland. Tell us what happened there and what was said when the mayor came to visit.
Okay, so after we were evicted from the shelters, the mayor came to spoke to us just the other day, stating that the temporary houses, they still busy with. We will be here up until the first week in August. Then they will move us to these temporary structures. But as Human Settlement Officer Mitchells addresses the mayor, stating to the mayor that we were never evicted. We left on our own, back to our Lapland. But Human Settlement were there, coming to evict us, with the police, saying if we don't move on that same Sunday, then we will be on our own.
And what was said, I do believe that when the mayor came here, Mayor Gary van Niekerk came here, he did say that they've found land for the people of Lapland and that they'll start constructing.
Yeah, he promised us there's the land in Van Rooyen, not far away from where we're staying now. But as you can see, ma'am, it can be both sides. It can be in Jamestown or it can be in front. But the problem will be if it's in front, there's also people who's wanting houses that side, in Joslovo. But now we're moving there. There's going to be a conflict, a big conflict between the two parties, because that's another word. We're coming from word 45.
And when did he say he'll be back? I do believe he said he'll be back on Tuesday with pictures and evidence.
Yeah, he said he's coming back on Tuesday with pictures of the land and the development of the land. And then he's coming to address us on Tuesday again.
All right,
and then Friday.
And Friday
yeah,
again.
he's coming.
All right. Thank you so much, Sherwin. That's Sherwin there, Naledi, of course, one of the residents here in Lapland. He was also part of that protest, saying that, of course, giving us insight as to the meeting that took place between the community as well as the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro Mayor Gary van Niekerk when he visited the community. But also, let's hear what the Department of Human Settlements has had to say, Naledi, because they're quite vital in this. Remember, this was declared a national state of of disaster. Therefore, National Office of Human Settlements is the one that would need to actually assist the people with these TRUs that have been built. They're the ones who source these TRUs, but the municipality is the one that earmarks the land and giving it to them. Now, let's hear what Hlengiwe had to say.
All this while a permanent solution is being sought by the municipality. Now, the disaster of suitable land to make sure that all these 22 informal settlements can be permanently relocated from their current disaster-prone sites to these suitable land parcels. So that has been done in terms of acquiring. So the other aspect of that intervention included obtaining environmental authorization, and there was a waiver that was obtained for some land parcels. The remainder just needed awaiting public comments, and the public comments are expected by the 10th of July. I think the other element there was the construction then of TRUs. And so these TRUs were for households that were residing in these temporary emergency accommodations provided by government that are located in PE. So those, they've now been permanently reallocated to Walma, where obviously the National Department is constructing about 600 TRUs.
Now, I do believe, Naledi, as mentioned by Human Settlements, that 600 and now just over 600 households or temporary structures actually would be built in these land parcels. It seems as though some of the delays came from getting these waivers and permission, and also collaborating, of course, with the environmental affairs, because remember, when they build, they need to have the land approved, because in most cases, when you build land such as the one that we are on now, which is in a low-lying area, and the one in Gibson and Jones Street that were also severely affected by the floods, those are brick and mortar houses and actual structures that are there, where the minister actually had asked how and when were those houses built, because they are in a low-lying area. So to avoid that, they need to bring in then environmental affairs so that they're able to also approve that. But we also know that parts of those people that were affected, over 1,500 people have been displaced and homeless. Some of them will be moved in warmer, and they've already started in that area. That area has been earmarked. Now, we're going to visit, Naledi, this Van Rooyen area, just to see how far is this development. Is there any development in Van Rooyen really? Has it been earmarked? Has it been, enclosed or identified really? And also here, the community on Van Rooyen, because we do believe, and we've been told that that community is not accepting the people of Lapland to move to that side, which might cause further delays for these people to be relocated, Naledi.